Hi, my name is Ben. Welcome to Angling For You. Today you're going to find us at the Oaks Lakes at Sessie, and what we're going to try and do is catch lovely F1s and hopefully a few carp on meat and pellet short. Now let's get this fish unhooked and we'll get on with that. Let's start by having a look at the rig. So today what we're using is what we call a strung out bulk. Now I'm just gonna fishing quite light elastic, size 8 elastic. Float size is a 0.4. It might seem as sort of a large float, but what we're wanting to do is keep it quite stable through the water columns. Sometimes you get a little bit of tow being on the corner, and we want that good bait presentation. So we're fishing just touching bottom, and as you can see there's a strung out bulk. So you've got a couple of small bulks of number 8s at the top, and then we've got number 9s running sort of every 2 to 3 inches all the way down, and then on the hook link number 8, so about 3 inches off the hook, and that'll bring a nice steady fall, and if the fish start to come up in the water, we can hopefully intercept them. We've got a very small size 18 on there. It's got a slight twist on the hook, gives a good turn of the hook hole through the meat and into the fish's mouth, and we're feeding shredded meat and pellet. Now if you've watched one of my other videos, it's a follow on from that really, to sort of show you how it can be used at different depth and different areas. So when you're fishing any sort of commercial ponds or any sort of match ponds or even a lot of local ponds, the short line's obviously something that's a real big bagger in regards to fish holding and weight. And what the most important part of using when you do this line and determine where to fish on it is to go through it with a plummet and find that depth, because what you want is it just where it hits the bottom of the slope and plateaus out. That's kind of the area that you want to be in. It's a good fish holding area where fish feel confident and fit and feel comfortable feeding. So what we're going to do is just nick on a small piece of meat. We've got the spam. I'll just trim that down a little bit, using a sort of 6mm size cube of meat, and I'm just nicking it nice and simple through the edge, really simple. And how we're feeding that is every time we sort of go in, we're putting that loose feed in into the pot at the top, and we're feeding it via that. Now you can throw it in, but what we're trying to do is encourage the fish to feed on the bottom, and sometimes if you throw that in, it'll encourage the fish to come up through lighter. It takes longer to go down, and it'll encourage the fish to come up in the water column. And what we're wanting obviously is not for that to happen. We're wanting to pick those fish up on the deck, so just putting that sort of just over the top makes it a lot easier. Into another fish now. I kind of wish I hadn't hooked it because there's an absolute massive one inside of me which I could have mugged. Just again, that's a little shy bite, really quick. And just got that dotted down so we could see the bite. Super light elastic on today, size 8. Catching these F1s just makes it a little bit more fun. You can obviously use slightly heavy elastics if you want. I won't go much more than a 10 for these. Really, softness gives obviously a good action if they're darting and stuff like F1s, for example, like that. This allows a little bit of flexibility in it. Not particularly big fish, but like I say, when you're on light gear, they put up a good scrap. There we go. Getting back, and we'll see if we can change the camera around and see if we can get from a bit of a different angle, and we can see what it looks like from there. Right, so I'm just going to have a quick go and talk about the SR2. Now, obviously, it's an old pole, 8-10 years maybe. The ZR range came out after them. The main thing is, and I mentioned it on the channel, I did get caught up on sort of putting out the best gear and the sort of the best reviews for the best poles, but I've been chatting and talking to a lot of members and subscribers on the YouTube. What I want to see is an everyday tackle or the used tackle that you can get. So saying that, I thought what I'd do is I'd borrow my mate's SR2 pole. So I'll have a little chat to you about it. So SR2 competition, 12.5 meters. They did an SR1 which was 11 meters, and then they did an SR1 plus, I believe, which was 13 meters, and then they've done the SR2 which is 12, the SR3, so this is 12.5, SR3 which is 12.5, and I think the SR4 is 14.5, and so on, it goes up to 16 meters. Now the range when it came out, I had the SR1, I've had the SR1 plus as well. I really liked them. They're not the lightest poles, but they're not the heaviest poles. You can get the sort of in between. Really strong. I've got some mega lumps on the SR1, the 11 meter, just using it as a margin pole, rated up to 20 elastics. This one again, rated up to 20s. You get 4 top kits with it, but they are long. That's the only problem is they're just very long, and obviously you've seen them fishing today. It's not really the easiest when you're getting F1s and stuff like that in. It's just a bit fuggly, but I'm presuming that they'll able to get a universal F1 kit or a short kit somewhere that would able to go on to that. I'm very sure of it, with it being a Daiwa pole. So that's the only negative. It's quite alright at full length. It's easily holdable. It's a little bit of bounce, which you'd expect from a sort of early entry level pole. It comes with like a black rod bag. What they tend to do is come with 4 kits. One of them you can turn into a pole with a pole cup, and turn that into a cupping kit, which my friend's also done with this one. So like, this is obviously your end section. Really nice graphics, looks really good, got the alignment system on there as well. and again, it's got the Team Daiwa SR2. You can tell it's the older one because it's got the Team Daiwa rather than just the Daiwa logo on there. And the old graphics, if you have a look there, they're the old Team Daiwa graphics compared to the slightly newer graphics that they've got now nowadays. But saying that, if you're getting a second-hand pole, if you're getting into pole fishing, or even if you're a little bit more advanced in pole fishing but you still don't want to spend mega money, really you could pick one up for $250. Sometimes even cheaper. If they're immaculate and they've got a lot of extra kits and stuff like that, you might be pushing up to the $350 mark, but really you want to be around the $220 mark really for that kind of pole. And it's just a good all-rounder. Obviously the kits you can put light elastics through like I've got, you can put thick elastic you know, to go down the edge, and they're really robust. It's strong stuff. They're all aligned. The carbon, it says it's got the modular HMC modular carbon, which means it's really strong, thick sidewalls. It's probably on the same mandrel for the ZRs. You may comment underneath, but to be honest, I picked up the ZRs when they first came out, and I'd had the SR1. I didn't think the ZR1, which was direct comparison, was any better. I if I'm honest, I preferred the SR1, but I don't know going up the range. I haven't fished with the other ZR poles, so I couldn't say. I mean, you know that I'm a big Daiwa fan anyway, but I just thought I'd do a little quick one on that, and you can see that sometimes it is good to go second hand, and you can get good deals. Yes, you can get poles that have been wrapped. I tend to try, if I'm buying a second-hand pole, not to get one that's had any breaks in it. I would recommend trying it if you can go see the pole, put it together before you actually hand over the money. That would be better, especially on your higher end poles. It's not the end of the world if they've been wrapped, but it depends who they've been wrapped by. So maybe if you ask who they've been wrapped by, you know, then you maybe get a bit of information on who's done it and what kind of job that they do. I get all mine done by Mark Wainwright, as probably most of you know. Lives close to me, you know, top angler, fish show finalist. You know, he's does a great job on fixing any section, and they're probably stronger than what they were before. But it's just important when buying the second-hand poles that just you double check all that kind of things. Have a look at the top kits, put them all together, make sure they're not chipped, where the joins are, things like that. Make sure that they're not, you know, they're not loose on the joints where they've been put together and things like that. Just check all those things. But let's see if we can get another fish anyway and finish the video off. But I just thought, you know, whilst I've got it with me, I'll try and film a margin fishing one later on, and fingers crossed we'll do well on that, and then, you know, you can see what it's like down the edge as well. But let's just get another piece of meat on. Let's see if we can persuade another F1 out. But don't be afraid. If when you put, you know, you're parting a lot of money, poles are not cheap. Make sure that don't be afraid to ask about them. If there's things that you're not sure about, you know, there's going to Angling For You. There's plenty of people that can help to give advice about things. I use certainly if I buy anything second hand, I use a site that's called Pole Compare, and it's on Google. Just literally search Pole Compare, and what that is it's not got every pole in existence, but it's got majority of poles, and it'll give you sort of weights, lengths, stiffness ratings, reviews from people, but then it'll also give you how much you should be paying for one second hand. So it does give you like a bit like a used car guide, really. It's a little bit like that but for poles. So it's a really good website. I always use it, and I always refer people to use it as well if they ever ask me if they're buying a second-hand pole. Pole Compare, it's really good. Lots of different poles that are on there, and they update it quite frequently. But it just gives you, and it tells you what kit comes with them as well, and a bit of blurb from the manufacturer about them as well. but it's a good guide price when you are going to buy one, to try and get either a deal on one, or if somebody's asking too much. I do keep seeing there's a very, very big fish that keeps going around the peg, and it keeps popping up, and I just saw it out the corner of my eye then, and I'm hoping it's going to pop up again within range, because I'm going to try and drop this bit of meat on his nose and see if he'll take it, because he is a good fish, and he's just to my left here. What a phenomenal bit of mugging that was. This is a good fish. Not silly size, but a good fish. And that's what I'm trying to say about mugging. It's such a good method to do when it's like this. They've got fish cruising around. You should always be ready. And there's another, that's the other fish there at the other side. Good stamp fish at that other side. You should always be looking for those opportunities when you're fishing. Now I saw that out corner of my eye, that fish, and I've just dropped that on his nose and he's took it straight away, which is positive because it means that they are feeding. And he's not a ginormous fish. This one is certainly not as big as that one I've just seen on the other side, but he's not bad. Probably 4 pounds or so. But just be ready when you're fishing to do that. If you're in a match, what you probably do is have a mugging rig set up with a banded pellet on it, just ready to go to drop on. But we just literally had that bit of meat. I've just gently, it's a great mugging bait, is meat, because it falls so slow, so you can just hold it in the top of the water. And hopefully we can get him in. We're on a light bottom, 3.8 pound bottom, so, and a small hook, so as we were off for F1s, you gear down a little bit for F1s. And like I said before, this top kit, this is the problem. As you can see, it's probably a good 8 inches bigger than a normal top kit would be. But fingers crossed, we'll get him in. So I might have to wait a little bit longer. Like I said, we're on quite a large rig as well. It's quite a lot of deep rig. So I have to play him a little bit higher up in the water with the holding the tip a little bit higher than I'd like normally. Try to not lift too much, but because of the size of the rig, I'm going to have to put a little bit on there. But just be ready when you're fishing to do that. If you're in a match, what you probably do is have a mugging rig set up with a banded pellet on it, just ready to go to drop on. But we just literally had that bit of meat. I've just gently, it's a great mugging bait, is meat, because it falls so slow, so you can just hold it in the top of the water. And hopefully we can get him in. We're on a light bottom, 3.8 pound bottom, so, and a small hook, so as we were off for F1s, you gear down a little bit for F1s. And like I said before, this top kit, this is the problem. As you can see, it's probably a good 8 inches bigger than a normal top kit would be. But fingers crossed, we'll get him in. So I might have to wait a little bit longer. Like I said, we're on quite a large rig as well. It's quite a lot of deep rig. So I have to play him a little bit higher up in the water with the holding the tip a little bit higher than I'd like normally. Tried to not lift too much, but cost of the size of the rig, I'm gonna have to put a little bit on there. Yeah, like I said, it's about £4, but when you're fishing light bottom, light gear and a small hook and small line, I don't want to be pulling his head off as much as I can. Just let him tire himself out. Get the net ready. He's certainly not giving up without a fight, that is for sure. And he's in. And I can just show you just a little bit of quick thinking. You can net yourself these great fish. And it's just hooked perfectly on the top lip. Get this tiny little hook out. There we go. It's not a monster, but he's a nice fish. Let's lift. Try and lift him up. Feel play ball, which you don't feel like he's gonna do, but we'll have a go. Easy, tiger. You can see, nice fish. Caught nicely on a bit of meat, so he does go with the video. Although we mugged him, but it also allowed me to show you that method of mugging as well, and just picking one off the surface. Hope this video has been helpful. Part of this sort of really two-parter with the meat feeder video coming before. Thought it'd make sense to show you it on the pole as well. Thanks for all the support as always. I'm heading back into a very busy September, October. I'll do my best to try and get the videos up, but I've got an chaos amount of work coming my way, so I do apologise in advance if I don't get masses amount of content. I will try my best to at least do once every 2 weeks or better. And thank you for watching as always. Follow us on the Instagram at angling_for_you. Follow us on the Facebook group. A great set of lads on there. Just search Angling for You on Facebook. Like and subscribe, share with your friends. If you want to put that little bell icon on, that would be fantastic, just to update you to his new videos. Thanks a lot. Tight lines.